Hey there, everybody. Good morning. I'm Bob Koback. And this is the Bob and Weave podcast, video podcast. And I'm with Vicki Bohlsen. Vicki is the president of the Bohlsen Group. And we're going to find out a lot about the Bohlsen Group. We're going to find out a lot about Vicki. And we're going to post this to LinkedIn and we're going to post it to YouTube so that you'll have an opportunity to go back and listen to it again. And so you can listen to it while you're driving, you can listen to it while you're running, and you can watch it while you're sitting down wanting to learn something fun. Hi, Vicki.
Hi, how are you, Bob?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. You know, the way you and I met was pretty unique in the world of business as business goes. I was talking to one of our business partners, somebody who helps provide some of our IT services. And she mentioned, we were talking, and I had mentioned that this really hard, difficult task we went through to get what's called a B Corp certification, and which we've applied for, and we hope to receive sometime in the next couple of months. And in the process, she said, I know somebody that already has that. And that's what connected us, was the B Corp. So while we're going to discuss the Bohlsen Group and make sure we get that in, because that's an important part of who you are, but could we start with the B Corp? Do you mind us starting with what do we mean by benefiting everyone, and what I'll certainly talk to you about it from my perspective, but what is it from yours?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but we were B Corp certified kind of just by accident. It was never an intentional, thing. I had a colleague who I hired to do some strategic consulting with me because my company's been in business 10 years. And in fact, I just got this beautiful plaque from Tilson, our PEO, today, which was a reminder that it's our 10-year anniversary today. So that's kind of cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But we were kind of all over the place. When we first opened the business, we had a lot of different verticals, a lot of different services, like any new business, just trying to kind of find your footing. And so I hired her to come in and just help with our strategic planning. And she, in uncovering and doing her discovery to guide us along, said, have you ever thought about being B Corp certified? And I had no idea what it was. And so I looked into it, and I saw that they had this free assessment on their website, which is what you have to answer in order to get certified. You go through all these questions, and then it spits out points, and you have to have 80 out of 200 to be certified, which sounds so easy, like, oh my God, you're failing to get certified, but it quickly became clear that, it's a robust assessment with lots of information. And I loved it because I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take this so I can learn more about how we can be a socially responsible company, because the companies that were certified, many were companies that I admire, or aspired to be like. But then there were also these companies I never heard of, and they were small like us and all different industries. And I thought, I just want to see what these questions are, so we can be better at what we're already innately doing. And so we took the assessment.
It was hard, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was hard, but it was so satisfying. It took us about 5 months. I don't know how long it took you.
3.5.
3.5. Well, what we did was, along the way, we would stop, we'd pause, and we would do something about what the question was, because it's kind of skip logic, as you recall. And, for instance, it might say, do you use local vendors? And I'd answer, I'd have to think about it, and then, do a little pulling of the research, and yeah, we really do, except for those that we can't, like a national software platform. I can't help that it's not available here in Indiana. So I answered it with our, 95+% are local vendors. And then it skipped to, is this a company policy? And then I thought, why not be a company policy? So then, I announced it's a company policy that we will work with local vendors, as a preference. And then the next skip logic is it in your handbook? Oh, let's put that in our handbook. And then the next skip logic is a part of your onboarding. So it took us some time because a lot of the questions we were doing, but we weren't incorporating them or institutionalizing them in a way that really was, I don't want to say taking advantage of, but communicating internally and externally that this was how we function and how we behave. So it took 5.5 months.
Did you go through when you first started? I mean, you went through the first, let me preface that by saying, when we first got started, I went through the whole thing first and got 73 points before I even really started drilling down. And I thought, wow, we're doing great. But I got to tell you, those last 7 points they were not easy. And then I figured, you know what, I'm probably they're going to DQ, disqualify some of these, by the very nature of the precise nature of the definition.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I was going to just push and shoot for 90 points. And that was the hard part, was getting between 73 and 90. Getting to the 73, I was very proud of the fact that we already had a big part of the culture embedded, but very little of the process embedded.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Redoing the employee manual.
Yeah.
Which
I
was
can't
very
recall.
satisfying, as you point out. It was a good thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, just some of the things that it's like, wow, this just, like I said, institutionalizes things we were already doing. Like, why not make it a company policy, And it was, I can't remember, Bob, if I do think that we took it like you did initially and got points. And I think we were in the like 90 or something. And we thought, but I wasn't trying to get the points. You see, I was really trying to learn from it. So I think, because we've had to go through recertification twice. And I think the very first time we did it, we went just in order and answered and changed and then would go back. And then the second time and third time for recertification, we absolutely took it to see where we landed and then worked on things we needed to work on. And you're right. It is that the next step after you submit is, I think it's kind of changed over time, but for us, it's, we get emails back saying, can you give documentation to support this answer? And we had to go back and forth on this last recertification for months. I mean, it was during the pandemic, but we were hovering on that 80 by about a half a point. We were like between 78 and 82, depending on what they asked for and how they evaluated it. And it took a long time.
So what do you hope to get out of it?
For me, being B Corp certified, so at the end of it, when we had gone through the very first time and we had enough points and we were done and we had made the changes in our company, we had, I think, 89 points or something like that. And I remember thinking, this wasn't easy to do. And I was so grateful for all that knowledge that I gained in doing it, that it was like a cross between, I'm proud of what we did and we have 89 points, but I'm also thankful to them for teaching me so much, to the B Lab who, houses the assessment. And honestly, I felt like this is probably one of the most meaningful things I've done as far as business process, development. Because for me, it was just kind of like I didn't go to business school, and it kind of felt to me like it was a platform to make decisions from, right? Which was innately in me, but it just was this sort of like guidebook to help me with solving any business situations, problems, or to make decisions on how to move forward with things. And so what I got out of it was literally everything we do, we go back to the tenets of B Corp certification and
Which is doing business for good.
doing business for good, looking at the triple bottom line, not just the bottom line. And if it's if it's a question about hiring, for instance, then I'm like, I wonder how we should communicate our diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. I'll either go back to those questions and make sure I'm understanding what companies that are socially responsible are doing, or I will go into the B Lab resources and look at the chats about the topic to gain information. So it's just really just a resource that I feel is like a little board of directors, if you will.
Now your client base. Well, let's jump in a little bit into your marketing company, because your marketing consulting is the best way to put it, right? And you do some project management work for marketing. For instance, you're going to be doing some work with Mobius to help put together a nice presentation that we can take to investors if we choose to. And so your client mix is based a whole lot on what you've learned and what you instilled into your culture at the Bohlsen Group.
Yeah, sorry, my dog just started barking.
Puppy.
Do you want me to go close my blind so they'll stop, and we'll pause? Or you want me to keep talking?
We can pause. Okay, we're satisfying the puppy issue as best we can. But I tell you something, with Zoom, and I do not suffer from Zoom fatigue. I rather enjoy it. I've met a lot of pets. I have met a lot of cool animals. Birds.
Yeah.
One time I was on a call and I was introduced to the guy's pet monkey.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I was in Puerto Rico. It was very, very cool. So pets are welcome. We're pet friendly here.
Well, good, anyway, because we never know what's going to happen again.
Well, hey, that's all right. You know what? One of the things I do know is that in every conversation you and I, we've had some laughs. So let's not let that slow us down. So okay, so back to client mix. You like to work with those nonprofits that can be reasonably like-minded, not just nonprofits, but for-profit also. But you do have some focus in nonprofit, I understand. So and a lot of that comes from the foundation, the basis of doing business for good. Yes,
our clients. After 10 years of being in business, we have the best positioning we've ever had. Really getting down to working with businesses or organizations that use business as a force for good. You're exactly right. And literally no one on our client roster isn't in the space. That does translate to a lot of those companies being nonprofits, just for the simple fact that, their mission is, using, it's a force for good. But we also have for-profits and those are companies that are making a social impact, like yourself, you're, getting B Corp certified. The other organizations are very focused on various tenets of a B Corp platform or a socially responsible platform. And so they're considered a social impact company. And so we're excited. Every single client is looking at the triple bottom line. And then what comes out of that, which is so cool, is that there's so many introductions and partnerships that are created amongst our clients because they're mission aligned or like-minded. So
triple bottom line, explain it, please.
Triple bottom line is when you you care about people, the planet, and profits, not just the bottom line, which is profits.
So they're not mutually exclusive. They're all, you can do it all. And, and interestingly enough, my attitude is, my opinion is that if something, who knows, would happen, that we would not get the good housekeeping seal of approval, I won't be very disappointed. Because we're installing the culture, we're installing the processes anyway. So it does us a lot of good, and it does our clients a lot of good, because, you know, if we're focused solely on the bottom line, we're not providing the service we should be providing. We're not providing the, you know, the value, the real true, what used to be called goodwill, air quotes, that I don't think you can put it on a financial statement anymore, but
Yeah, absolutely. No,
it feels real.
that's totally right. It's like if you really understand what all goes into being a socially responsible company, not everybody can do well in every category, right? But if you are looking at operating your business through that lens, our partners, and now people are coming to us saying, because you're B Corp certified, we want to work with you, you know? And I think it's because that authenticity and that openness, that transparency in the relationship is so important. And if we're treating our clients or partners in that way, then that translates into how we're working with our vendors, and we're working with you know, our team internally to create goodwill and happiness, so that they're, you know, I mean, if you have a good workplace culture, the loyalty and the work ethic, all that comes out because they're being treated, you know, well, right? And you know, whether that's being compensated fairly or getting great benefits, it's also just enjoying being at work, you know.
I know that when we were going through the process, when we got to the HR part of the certification, it kept mentioning, you know, livable wage, and it even gave us a metric so that I could click on Indianapolis, I could click on Indiana and find out what they mean by livable wage where I'm living. And it certainly is more than $7.25 an hour.
Yeah, you think?
I think we should do something about that. I have no problem. You know, I've written to everybody I can and said, you know, you live on $15 an hour. I dare you, do it for a week. And the same is true with the climate. You know, we no matter where you live, there is a climate emergency, and you know, we should do something about that, because it costs me money. It takes money out of my bottom line to, you know, just because of the health, if nothing else, you know. And I mean, generally it's just, you know, for good. So it's not just a matter of being a liberal business guy or liberal, you know, thinker. It is about being a liberal thinker. It's not necessarily about being politically liberal, but it is about being a liberal thinker, open-minded, save the planet, save the people, be socially responsible, give money to charity, which kind of gets me to the next sort of next issue, and that is your charity. I'm gonna bring up my screen here, and we're gonna talk, if you don't mind, about your charity of choice.
Sure. Yeah. While you're popping that up, I'll tell you a little bit about why I chose them. Years ago, I put Gleaners, who is my charity of choice, on our aspirational client list. I feel like there are a few key issues that we have. One is climate change. Yes, absolutely. So, you know, we have 2 clients that are dealing with that, Carbon Neutral Indiana and the Indiana Recycling Coalition. But I think the other 2 major issues are homelessness and food insecurity. And I aspirationally want to be touching all those areas. And so Gleaners was on my list of, man, I really want to work with these people. And it's so just serendipitous how, you know, I built a relationship with, you know, people there, and we as a company volunteered there. We even went in and talked to them about working with them 6 or so years ago. And they, you know, we had great conversation, but they stayed with their agency they were using. And out of the blue, in like October, November, I get a call and they say, we're reaching out to see if you'd be interested in working with us. And it's like, well, duh. And they hired us. And so they're our new client. And it's just, so fulfilling to have had them on the radar, that you wanted to impact this issue and to have just authentically develop a relationship with them. And then for it to turn around to be a partnership moving forward. So,
Well, as a business owner, as I do as a business owner, man, there are a lot of places you can contribute, you can donate.
yeah,
We contribute our service quite often to a nonprofit that maybe they want to survey their donors, or they've had an event and they want to do a post-event survey. We contribute that, but there are limits to all that, and that's why the charity of choice is so important, that you can dedicate focused resources toward that, and you every dime that you spend with a charity makes a difference. I know that, but when you can focus your energy and your assets on one, it just benefits them so much more, so much, and I've given money to Gleaners. It's a good charity. They don't spend a lot on administration. I've been to their location. There's nothing plush about it, that's for sure.
it's pretty wild how they have so many different ways to reach their clients, I guess. I don't know what else to call them, but I mean, I remember at Thanksgiving when this past Thanksgiving during the pandemic, when I was watching the news and the lines just to go get food, at Thanksgiving were miles and miles long all over the country. And I just was beside myself thinking about, that. I mean, being hungry is something that affects everything else in your life. And so it's just such a core, important thing to help someone not just survive, but to thrive in life. And so I just really am so thrilled to be able to address this, as a client, and figure out ways to reach more of their audience, more, donors, grow that education on what it is they do, because I don't think people understand all the great things they do. I mean, they're really focusing now on fresh produce getting to people, which is hugely important. They are going to open a clean room so they can take large meat donations and then package it into smaller packages for families, so they get fresh meat instead of mostly canned goods or what you think they're getting. They go into other counties with their food trucks, into
They themselves are located in a food desert.
Yep, they are.
So just by their location is a good demonstration of their commitment to feed the right people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. So back to shifting some gears back to business. I know because we've talked about it. I am a firm believer in woman-owned businesses and women growing in whatever respective industry they are, and mentoring. And the most successful women that I talk to in business, and I'm sure you're going to be the same way, when I say to them, how did you overcome all the obstacles? Successful women always look at me and say, well, I really didn't have any. I mean, I just forged ahead, which meant you ignored the males of this species who believe, that they're on second base and think they hit a double. You ignored that. And so for those women that are coming up in business, that want to be successful in business, but don't have necessarily that confidence, what would be the one or two things you tell them?
Oh gosh. Well, I definitely agree with you on that's how I would have answered it. I honestly wasn't even really thinking about it so much that I was a woman starting the business. I didn't even get WBE certified until a couple years ago, because I so wasn't thinking about the fact that I'm a woman who owns this business. So I guess the advice would be, just how do I put this into words? Be
You did not. I should have done that.
No, it's okay. Be confident. No, I mean, I'm not trying to put the male species down, but let's face it, women, we are we're nurturers by nature. We in addition to potentially working outside of the home, we're growing these children, we're having these children, we're raising these children, we're the most likely the main person that does the homemaking in the relationship or partnership. And just be confident about all the crap you get done on a daily basis. And know if you put that effort into your business, you can be successful, and so it's confidence. And then this is kind of lame, but I've been asked this before, like, what's your best piece of advice, which is kind of what you're asking me. And the first thing that always comes out of my mouth is work hard, which I know sounds ridiculous, but you'd be surprised how many people go to a job or, they don't work at 100%.
It's only a job if you wish you were someplace else.
Yeah, it's like even if it is just a job, because I mean, I remember working retail in high school, oh my Lord. And my part of the role was to stand up in front of that store and greet customers. And there were times when I would stand up there for 6 hours straight. Hi, can I help you find anything? And it was not fun, because that sometimes when you go into a store, you don't want somebody asking you that. You just want to go do it. You don't want to be asked. You just you're in the zone. Oh, I didn't enjoy it. But you know what? I was there getting paid and I worked at 100%, even though it wasn't the most enjoyable job. And I just don't understand how people don't give 100%. And so when I say work hard, there's a little bit of a story behind it, but I really do feel like if you're going to go sit and you're at a job or stand or whatever it is you're going to do, you have to do it. So do it well and right, because only good can come out of it.
Make the show. That's one thing. Be there, show up.
Yeah, exactly. But, and then I think another piece of advice is just it kind of goes along with the confidence, but it's to have hope, and be at peace about even the tricky things or the bad things that happen, because it's a bump in the road. It doesn't mean it's all going to fall apart. You have, as a woman, had to work through situations that aren't ideal over and over and over since you were a little kid. Take a deep breath and don't panic, and I mean, there have been so many moments in the 10 years I've been in business where I could have just really crawled into a ball out of fear, confusion, uncertainty. But I might have a little pity party, but then I'd get over it and move on. And it all works out in the end if you work it and you're patient and you are hope-filled. And so I don't know, that's all probably a little esoteric and whatever and kind of crunchy,
Well,
but it is how I view things.
But it's also practical. And I mean, in my 21 years of being in business, I will tell you that the word persistence keeps coming up. You persisted, I persisted, persistence. And so then it led me to wonder what's a good definition of persistence. And you know what I came up with? Bob is too dumb to know when to quit.
Well, I persistence to me is also knowing I'm not the best at everything, and I'm probably not the best at most things. So hire those that are the best.
Oh, yeah.
Outsource to those that are the best. I mean, and I mean, that is another reason why I've been able to manage moving forward for 10 years is that, I might have the entrepreneurial spirit and spunk and the ideas, but I can't execute them on my own. And it takes a village to run a business too. And every single person at my company has their role and are so important. And all the vendors we outsource to, we couldn't do it without them. And that's not about me. That's maybe me just being, I don't know, humble enough to say, I need all of you, I need.
Well, it was Confucius that said, if you're the smartest man in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Well, yeah.
That's so very, very true.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Vicki, I got our thank you screen up because I think we probably should move on. I don't know about you, but I got one heck of a good busy day ahead of me. You know what? We're going to get snow tonight. Can you believe that? In April?
I gotta figure out what I need to do if I have things I need to cover and all that kind of stuff.
I know I've got my hostas and my,
Yeah.
So yeah, I unfortunately have to leave early today too, but I can't thank you enough for the time that you spent today and just in general, getting to know you better. It's been a really great experience getting to meeting you and getting to know you and being included in some business conversations with you. So I really do appreciate it. And I'll make sure that I share this link with you so that we can get it out there together.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
As a reminder to everybody, this is Vicki from Bohlsen, the Bohlsen Group, and I'm Bob Kobach with CustomerCount and Mobius Vendor Partner. And this is Bob and Weave, a great podcast that is just designed for all kinds of fun.
Thank you, Bob.